And so, as we stand on the golden shore of the West Gate of the United States and of the city Foursquare, we are standing in time on the golden shore of the age of Aquarius. The next 2,000 years is destined to see the raising up of consciousness such as has not occurred since the golden ages of Lemuria. It is a tremendous joy to live in this moment and to realize that together we are feeling and sharing as it passes through us this tremendous love of God for the reunion of Father, Son, Holy Spirit, and Mother, the four pillars in the temple of being within our own consciousness. These are the four sides of the Great Pyramid. This is the base and foundation of life, the four persons of the Godhead. We have a resolution of those forces that is necessary within our consciousness, and this is the path of the Ascension, to make the base of life once again the square that can become the cube. Gautama Buddha's great lesson was that we are out of alignment with the inner light, and therefore all of life is suffering. A suffering because of desire, a desire that causes out of alignment or non-alignment with the inner will of being. So getting into alignment is the real teaching of Serapis Bey. We can see then that the Great Pyramid and his teachings are the fulcrum of life. They become the keystone in the arch of hierarchy, the fourth ray, the fourth Chohan, the mother flame. Without the white light, we cannot enjoy the integration of selfhood. We go all the various paths of psychology or religion or whatever way we may seek to establish that basic and essential harmony which we crave. But in reality, through all of these processes, what is really wanting is the resolution of the soul as the jewel centered in the very center of these four pillars of our temple. Serapis Bey then becomes a very important key when more people than ever before are experiencing problems of their psychology, when there is more crime, more murder, more rape, more taking of drugs to escape life. All of this is the sign of this coming of the mother light that is so intense that when it rises from the altars of Lemuria, unless we dive into it and become a part of it, we find that it becomes the rock, as Jesus and Paul spoke of it, the rock that unless we fall upon it and allow our misconceptions to be broken, it breaks us. It is the light that resolves identity, but is so powerful that it can destroy that identity that rebels against it. We see the whole world in rebellion against the light of God, and yet we see the whole world seeking God. It is the mysteries of the Brotherhood of Luxor that can resolve these questions. But we need to take time and space to meditate upon the teachings, to be alone with our inner self, to not always be the subject of the bombardment of outer stimuli, but to be quiet and alone with our inner being, to experience the harmony of that being, and then by that harmony to measure within ourselves what are those anxieties, what are those fears, points of selfishness, points of darkness that will easily be dissolved in the light if we will only let the light come into the temple. I would like to speak to you of the incarnations of Serapis Bey since he transported the flame to Luxor. He continued to incarnate, and the Hierophant guarding the retreat until his ascension is one that has gone on before him. He was embodied between 1414 and 1379 BC as Amenhotep III, the Pharaoh of Egypt who preceded Amenhotep IV and Nefertiti. He was the ruler of the Egyptian empire, and during his reign, Egypt was at her height of prosperity, peace, and splendor. He, knowing who he was, realizing that he was the adept reincarnated from Atlantis, we realize that the prosperity and peace and splendor of Egypt was the direct manifestation of his own communion with his heart flame and with the hierarchs behind him, the ascended masters, all the way to the one, the Ancient of Days. That which appears in community is the direct product of individual communion with God. Civilizations rise on a firm foundation when the people are attuned to the inner light. Civilizations crumble when they no longer have that attunement and a life that is based upon the principles and the person of the Word. Serapis Bey, then, looking upon him in this life, we can see what is this squaring of the circle that becomes the square, the flame in the heart that becomes the building of a matter-based, or the materialization of the God flame. The word materialization comes from the words matter realization, or to realize in matter what we are one with in spirit. This is the challenge of the path. Do you know God? Prove it by your action, by the work of your hands, by the love of your heart. What you manifest is what you know. And unless you can manifest what you know, you don't really know it. So this extension of the self from the inner I am that I am to the outer manifestation is the path of the ascension.